So the second season of Daredevil Born Again has finally concluded, and it has been a wild ride with this season. The entire series has basically been one giant roller coaster. Now, I wasn't a big fan of the first season of Born Again, even though it did have its bright spots like the first episode, the White Tiger episode, and the final 2 episodes. But that middle chunk where the old showrunners came front and center was an absolute mess.
What?
But because those good episodes were so good from the new writers, I had a lot more confidence going into season 2. The trailers sold me, the ideas that they set up in the first season really excited me, and I am very happy to say that I thought Daredevil Born Again season 2 was absolutely fantastic. Also, full spoilers for this season and a little bit of season 1 as well, so if you haven't watched this show yet, do be warned, spoilers ahead. But I do want to get into my first big flaw with the season already, and that is that some of the ideas that they set up in season 1, no matter what the writers did, I just could not get invested in some of the plot lines. And that's something I'm blaming on the old writers, not the new writers. I do think the new writers did the best they could with these certain plot lines. The biggest plot line that I could not get invested in was the Heather Glen plot line and the Muse plot line. It's something that was really poorly set up in season 1. And they tried to do something quite interesting in the second season with sort of PTSD elements in there and showing how PTSD can turn someone into a really bad person and become the thing that they were scared of in the first place. That's a really interesting idea. But throughout that entire plot line, I just kept saying to myself, who is this woman? Why should I care about her? The only things that I knew about Heather Glen was that she was Matt Murdock's ex and that she's working for Fisk and that she's traumatized by Muse. I'm sorry, but that's not really enough to get me invested in this character. This plotline had probably the most predictable ending ever. She becomes Lady Muse, which was leaked a couple of weeks earlier through set photos. What? Who could have seen that coming? I also think some of the new plot lines weren't as good as they could have been as well. That is especially the case with Matthew Lillard's character. I'm a huge Matthew Lillard fan. I think he's absolutely fantastic. And he is completely wasted in this season. Matthew Lillard was so good in this season. I love the personality that he gave Mr. Charles. How he's this very overconfident person who's overpowering Fisk. And the one aspect that I really did like about this show was that because he overpowers Fisk and that he's above him, Fisk can't kill him. And one of my favourite moments in the entire show was where they're interacting and Fisk is getting really annoyed. You can tell he really wants to kill him. But if he kills him, then he's going to get prosecuted. But the one thing that he can do is kill his bodyguards and threaten him like that. And speaking of Wilson Fisk, he is easily one of my favourite parts of this season, as he is with every single season of Daredevil. Even in the first season, in the moments where his character wasn't great, he was always the best part of it. And I really love that this season just keeps beating him down, especially with that shocking death of Vanessa, which was done so well. And I really love the way that they trick you with that. You think that she's automatically dead in the 4th episode. She comes back in the 5th episode and you think, oh, they've chickened out, they've not killed her. And then boom, they trick you again and then she dies. And Vincent D'Onofrio's performance in that scene and the entire season was absolutely fantastic. It's a transformative performance from him. And what I really liked is that he's allowed to get fully crazy in the final 2 episodes, especially in the finale, where he opens the door and just goes... and he just goes out and beats all these supporters to a pulp. And I absolutely loved his ending. He's getting overpowered by the protesters and Matt Murdock separates them. And he just tells him, come on, we've all shed a lot of blood. Look what's happening to the city. Just let it all go. Now, the big question is, will Wilson Fisk accept that? Or will he come back to New York in the 3rd season and try and do everything all over again? Well, if set photos are to be believed, he will try and do something, but... we don't know. But what I will say, and this is something that's concerning me about season 3 already, is that he's coming back. And I don't know about you, but after the ending of this season, I don't think he should go automatically. I do think I'd want him to come back, but I just feel like we need a little bit of a break. Introduce some new villains. You're already doing that with Lady Muse in the next season, and you're bringing back the Defenders. You could bring some of their villains into the fold as well. I just think we deserve a little break from Kingpin. His story in this season was done perfectly. It concluded brilliantly. And you can give a reason for him to come back to New York in the future. But I just think, for now, it's time to introduce some new villains and make them equally as interesting. But surprisingly, he is not the best villain in this season. We have to talk about Bullseye. He was brilliant in season 3 of the original Daredevil show, but he's on another level in this show. In fact, I'm going to go as far to say he is probably my favourite villain in any of the MCU Disney Plus shows. Somehow the writers made you sympathise with the guy who killed Foggy Nelson, and they did that with his interesting philosophy. Bullseye believes that he's a hero because he's killing task force people and he murders Vanessa, and he now believes that all of the bad things that he's done and all the good things that he's done now are equally balanced, and he can die a happy death.
What I did, what that woman had me do to your friend, one good deed, it levels the scales again.
And yes, throughout the entire show, you do not agree with him whatsoever. You killed Foggy Nelson. That's something you can't run away from. You deserve to die for that. But what I really liked is how it played into Matt Murdock's arc as well. My favourite episode of this entire season was episode 5, the flashback episode. And what it does is teach Matt about mercy and what Foggy would have wanted him to do with Bullseye.
What are we celebrating? Mercy.
Throughout this episode, we see that Foggy and Matt are going to trial with this guy who bullied Foggy in the past. And over time, he learns that he can give him a second chance and a way out. And that's what Matt is giving Bullseye in this episode and the rest of this season as well. And to me, that's just Matt Murdock, because Matt Murdock has always been a guy full of contradictions. One minute he'll think this thing and he'll be doing that. And the next minute he'll be doing something else, and then he'll contradict what he was meaning in the previous statement. And that's something that he's done throughout his entire lifespan, including the comics. It puts Matt's Catholic beliefs front and centre, that he has to now save Bullseye to save himself because of what he nearly did to him in the first episode of the first season. And I absolutely loved the cliffhanger of that episode, where he brings him back to the base because Bullseye is seriously injured, and Karen Page is there. And Karen Page hasn't exactly forgiven Bullseye for what he did to Foggy. Karen was really badass in this season. I absolutely love that she was kind of turning into the opposite of Matt Murdock in some way. She becomes a lot more violent and a lot more brave in this season, I've got to say. I absolutely love that confrontation with Kingpin in the penultimate episode, where he's literally choking her. And she's like, yeah, you're scared, I'm not bothered. That was just so badass for me. And another thing I think this season really improved on was Daniel and Buck. I really did like their friendship. In a way, it's kind of a friendship until a certain moment happens. But Daniel was just a little bit disappointing in the first season. He's this really sleazy guy and he just wants to be popular with Wilson Fisk. And I absolutely love the arc that he went on throughout this season. He realises at a certain point that he's in too deep. And when he's about to do something really bad to the one person who he really likes as a partner and a really good friend, he decides to turn a blind eye and do the right thing. And he gets the most tragic ending ever. He gets shot in the head by the one person in the administration that actually trusted him. And that's something I really appreciated about this season. It took many risks. It was brutal, like the Netflix show. It wasn't afraid to say that, look, these people made some really bad choices, and unfortunately, they're going to pay the consequences for them. And that's a theme that overshadows every character in this season. No one really wins, even though they have little victories in there. No one's ever fully satisfied with where they are in the end. Even Matt Murdock, who's been sent to prison for being Daredevil, with the former task force people, that's going to get really, really messy in season 3. And even Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, who returns in the final episode, really excited to see him back. They don't exactly have the best relationship when he comes home, so I'm interested to see where that goes in season 3 as well. I will say the inclusion of Jessica Jones in this season wasn't great either. She felt a little underused. She kind of just came and gone when she wanted to. And I know that she keeps saying, oh, my fight's done, I don't need to keep going, and then she finally comes back. It just didn't really have a lot of weight to it, I'd say. What did have a lot of weight to it, though, was the action, for the most part anyway. One thing that I really complained about in season 1 was that the first fight scene in episode 1, which would have looked really cool, was affected by that really annoying smoke to cover the actors and the CGI. It was so distracting. And one thing that affects a lot of the action scenes in this season is some of the really weird editing. One fight that was really effective was the fight between the AVTF and Daredevil and Jessica Jones. There's this weird moment where we get a single split-second close-up of Officer Powell coming in behind Daredevil, and then all of a sudden Jessica Jones just comes out and knocks him out. And it was just like so quick, and it just came out of nowhere. And the editing in that was just really, really weird. And it's a real shame because there are a lot of fight scenes which were so good. That one in the basement where Daredevil's freeing everyone, and then you got the Sawman just being a badass with that little pike thing, whatever he had, just beating AVTF soldiers up, and then Daredevil breaking arms and smoke going everywhere. It looked so sick. That was the best action scene in Daredevil Born Again so far. And then you've got really good uses of slow-mo where they're recreating comic art. Those moments were so good, but then there were other fight scenes that were really affected by bad editing. But what I did like about this show was how it looked, especially in episode 5 where they do the flashbacks. If you put a shot from the Netflix show here and a shot from the flashback episode here side by side, you honestly couldn't tell the difference. It looked so much like the Netflix show, other than Charlie Cox's really bad wig. But even outside that flashback episode, I do think the show looks really nice. Probably one of Marvel's best looking projects to date. I especially really love the use of red. This is a very red show, not just because of the blood and gore, but it just looks so red to signify Daredevil when he's there, and how his dark figure comes through the red as well. It just looks so cool to me. And I don't think I really need to mention this, but all of the acting in this season was fantastic. Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, once again fantastic. Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock Daredevil, amazing. No one can play the character like him. But two big standouts for me were easily Deborah Ann Woll, who plays Karen. She was brilliant in this season, probably the best she's ever been as Karen Page. And also Michael Gandolfini, the son of James Gandolfini from The Sopranos. He was great as Daniel. He was okay in the first season, nothing too special, but in this season, he really got to shine. So in conclusion, I thought Daredevil Born Again Season 2 was far superior to the first season. It has more interesting characters. In some cases, not all cases, it does make some of the most boring characters of Season 1 really, really interesting here. I loved how it wasn't afraid to take risks and tamper your expectations and just kill people because their stories led to that, unfortunately, and it just happens. And I am really, really excited to see what they do in Season 3. I do still have a few concerns that I won't be interested in this character and why this character is coming back so soon. But we shall see. We shall see next year, hopefully next March. But Daredevil Born Again Season 2, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I've got to say, the MCU is on a real good streak at the moment. Thunderbolts, banger. Fantastic Four First Steps, banger. Wonder Man, banger. Daredevil Born Again Season 2, banger. Hopefully the new Punisher special, which I will review next week, is another banger. The MCU is looking like it's back. But yeah, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. If you have seen Daredevil Born Again Season 2, do let me know your thoughts on it. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, guys. Have a good day, and see you later.